center field. Going back is Gonzalez. It is gone! Two-run home run by Schwarber. Stays put, and there's a high fly ball. Deep right field. Harper watches it fly.
And we are back for another episode of the Double Switch podcast. Been a while. Haven't been on here to talk Phils in quite a while. So just dying to get on here. Trade deadline, 48 hours away. I think it's like 3 o'clock or 5 o'clock on
6.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So it's time's ticking away. Some big names have been traded. Nobody has really been traded and we're expecting an impact from yet. So the Phils obviously have a lot of work ahead of them. But that's what we're here to talk about today. Very exciting part of the year. How you doing, Johnny?
I'm good, man. It's good to kind of dust off the mic and get back here for the best week of the year. Well, Red October's the best month, but best week of the year.
Yes. We are here because there's plenty of rumors. I know everybody has heard the big names that have been speculated. Phillies Twitter Phillies X is very busy speculating. I don't know what to believe anymore. I've seen so many off seasons, trade deadlines come and go where we just get up here, we discuss what we want to happen. Nothing ever happens. Nothing ever goes our way. Dave does not listen to the pod at this point. I'm pretty sure it's confirmed. He's not taking our advice very seriously. So I don't want to do that this year. I just want to, let's just talk through it. Let's discuss what we think the plan is, whether we think that's a correct plan, and B, where we see that plan taking us. So I'm going to throw it in your corner first, Johnny. Where are we at? Where are we at right now with this roster, with the future of the Phillies organization, and with the status of the trade deadline and who's available?
Yeah, I think that's a good way to phrase it because I think we get to this point and it's like make a crazy deal and win a World Series. And I thought about it like all of today. I just don't think that's the mindset of this front office. I think they put a lot of work in the past 5 years to get our farm system back to a top half farm system, and it is. And I think what they're going to do is I think they're going to leverage our strength right now, which is starting pitching MLB ready and starting pitching in the minor leagues to make a fringe type of deal that moves the needle a little bit. I think they're going to make 2 deals. The deals I have them making, I think they're going to trade for Pete Fairbanks, and I think they're going to put Mick Abel in that deal, and I think we'll have a low-end prospect. And I think we're going to trade for Ramon Laureano. And I think that's probably going to take like a Gene Cabrera type of prospect, top 10. And I think that is what we're going to get.
You're not going to believe me, but I had that exact trade written down. The Cabrera for Ramon Laureano trade. That trade makes a lot of sense.
It does.
He's been really good. He's a right-handed bat who can field all 3 positions. Good power. Makes a ton of sense. I think that he is going to come with like kind of that veteran, boring discount that some of the big flashy names aren't going to have attached to him. They're going to be more expensive because, the hype and the tools and stuff. But no, he's solid. He can play any of the positions. He could platoon with center field, right field. I mean left field, not right field. But it's a good name. I think Gene Cabrera is probably going to be one of the names that we are going to see moved. He's just in that tier of guys.
Go ahead. Yeah, like you're saying, he really is. He's in that tier where it just makes sense because he's performing well. His stock is up, and there's no foreseeable plan for him to get into our rotation in the next 3 years. But we're in a situation where not a lot of other teams have the same depth at starting pitching, especially in the upper level of the minors.
Yeah, it's probably going to go something like, give us Mick Abel or Andrew Painter. And we're going to be like, no, how about this 15th ranked prospect? And they're going to be like, no. And then we're just going to meet in the middle with Gene Cabrera. I think Moises Chapsay would have been a great name too, but he's hurt.
Exactly.
Obviously. So
when you kind of look at our history, it's the Ben Brown type of prospects we typically trade. The guys that are not in our top 4, but they're still in the top 10. Those are the guys that Dombrowski, Middleton, and co. seem like they are willing to trade.
Yeah, totally. I'm all on board with Laureano. I think it's very realistic too. I
Yeah,
think that's cool.
Fairbanks, I kind of glossed over that one, but Fairbanks, I think, is a guy we've been connected to for a really long time. I think his personality makes a lot of sense. He's just a real competitor, funny guy. I think Philadelphia would kind of suit him well in a real winning environment, and I think he's a guy that doesn't cost us a crazy amount
Yeah,
in this market.
I don't think he's gonna get traded. I just kind of feel like the Rays are always prioritizing like the controllability and the salaries, and I think that he's a very useful player for them. He's awesome. I mean, he would be a dream scenario. I think he's been very underrated for a long time. But I put the odds at like 30 or 40% that he gets traded. So I think you have the right template here. It's right-handed outfielder. I see a ton of talk about just really good left-handed outfielders, which I get it. That's cool, but that's not really what they're looking for. I can just
We
tell you
have that.
Yeah, we have that aplenty with Kepler, Marsh,
Justin Crawford.
Justin Crawford. Stephen Kwan is awesome. Like, don't get me wrong, he's an awesome baseball player, but we need right-handed pop, and he's a lefty contact hitter. It's just not exactly the right idea. It could work, but I'm sure that's not their priority. You know, it would have to be a very unique situation for that. So, right-handed outfielder with pop who can hopefully field all three positions. And yeah, we need like someone who can close out games ultimately, someone who can at least get the job done once in a while, hopefully more often than not. Fairbanks is a really good name. I think that if I have learned anything from watching the Phillies, I think there's only 3 teams that we'd probably trade with this upcoming deadline, just based off of who they have. I think the Orioles are very realistic. They have Laureano. They have Tyler O'Neill, who's actually pretty interesting too, a right-handed pop bat. They have Cano in the bullpen. They just traded Sir Anthony. I know I was going to talk about Sir Anthony, and
I had him on my list.
Yeah, that being a possibility. They had a lot of players who could have worked. Bautista obviously could have worked.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure the Phillies have been talking to them about a bunch of different people. I think the Angels are always just lost as a franchise. So they don't know what they're doing yet. But if they decide they want to sell, they have a lot of players that make sense. They always have. We get on here every offseason, every trade deadline, and talk about the same guys on the Angels.
Pretty much.
Nothing super surprising. At this point,
is,
Taylor Ward is going to retire an Angel. You know, I'm just pretty confident at this point. I like Taylor Ward a lot, and I think that he makes sense too. It's just
no, I agree. But
I'm
also at that point where, I mean, I saw a report this morning about the Angels that they're quote in a really rough position because they're only 4 games below 500, and they just don't have a plan. They never have a plan. I think it would be a smart move for a team like them to get a hefty package by bundling Reed Detmers and Taylor Ward to the Phillies. I think that would be brilliant for them to do because they could probably fleece us. But they're not going to do it because they seem to be a bit of a mess. So I think you're right. There's certain organizations that we can kind of count on here.
Reed Detmers was a really good name. I'm not thrilled about it, but I think Kenley Jansen's a real possibility.
Oh my God, no!
I know. I hear you.
What about the? What are
the third team? Let me name the third team. Is that what you're about to ask?
Yeah.
The third team is the Pirates.
Yep.
I think that there's just been enough hype here. David Bednar is the name who keeps coming up. I know O'Neill Cruz has came up, which very, very interesting. I think that a lot of teams are just checking in on O'Neill Cruz because he's sick and he's very talented. Phillies might have been one of those teams, but I don't really see the fit there. David Bednar's very I'd be okay with it. I mean, he's good. He's having a really good season. I don't think that he's ever played in the postseason, so I can't speak to his abilities in crunch time. He obviously had a really bad season last season, which was weird.
And he started this year a little rough and kind of turned it around. If I was a betting man, I think the odds of us acquiring Dennis Santana are higher than Bednar.
That was the other name.
Personally, because I think the price tag's lower and I think his upside's higher. So I think that's something the Phillies. There was reports a couple weeks back that they were looking to acquire both. The Phillies. It is mind-blowing how many people we're connected to. I'm pretty sure insiders just throw the Phillies name into every tweet just to raise prices, and it works.
We're a trendy team to talk about because it's very obvious what we need.
And our fan base amplifies that too in a loud way. So I think it works.
Yeah. I think Mick Abel's going to have to. Mick Abel's the price tag for both of them. Mick Abel and maybe like a top 15 prospect, low end 15 prospect is what both of them cost. I think their value is actually like very similar. So, yeah, those are two names. Laureano, obviously, we said Cabrera.
Are you kind of counting out the Twins as a trade partner, the Durans, the Griffin Jacks, the Willie Castro deals? Are you out on that?
Yeah, I don't think we're going to pay their price unless that price gets lower. I heard Andrew Painter needs to be like in those deals. I would
put him in a deal.
I don't know how true that is. I just have a lot of issues with relievers because we've seen just like David Bednar is a perfect example. The dude forgot how to pitch last year. He was so solid. He was going like he was a top 5 relief pitcher in fantasy baseball, and he was just useless. It's just tough because they lose it so fast, and you have a pool of resources here that you really are trying to hold on to extend this window. So you need to be positive that it's going to work if you give those guys up, and just the nature of the relief market and relief pitchers in general. There's no positivity there. Like you have no idea what's going to happen year to year. They fall off cliffs. I mean. It's a tough sell for me personally, but I do think Duran would really move the needle in terms of this team's both floor and ceiling. You know, he's as good as they really come in the closer role. Griffin Jacks is – I'm not giving up Andrew Painter for Griffin Jacks. How much experience does he even have closing? They're on the same team, so Duran's been closing for –
Yeah, but like do we really – if we acquire a guy, is he really going to be our closer? Like we've seen how this team operates.
Yeah, that's true. Let me look up Griffin Jackson's stats. Yeah, I mean
they're really good.
This is a guy with
probably has the best sweeper in baseball right now.
This guy has a 3.91 ERA with a 1.22 WHIP. It's a tough sell for a top 15 prospect in baseball. Duran, his stats are much better. There's a lot of Durans in baseball.
Too many.
Yeah, 2.01 ERA with a 1.18 WHIP. Yeah, he's much better. Yeah, it's complicated. I don't see us meeting those prices at the end of the day. I think they're going to kind of try to keep the top three for sure. I think at this point, I don't think Tait's going anywhere. And then after that, I think the availability opens up. So I think we're going to end up with someone middling with talent, someone who's had success, who we're just not positive is going to have success going forward. That kind of seems like how it's been and how it's going to continue to be.
Yep. I think we're on the same page with that. I think we're pretty aligned with Ramon Laureano kind of being a pretty ideal candidate. It just makes so much sense. I think the front office is going to get to that point where the past couple off seasons we've done this thing that I think everyone's getting really tired of, where we get a guy who was not playing well in the first half, and we're like, well, we see the good in him, and we're going to get that. We're going to get that good out of him. We're kind of getting really used to that whole spiel from Dabrowski, and I don't think they can back that up again, doing something like that and going after like a Luis Robert type who just it doesn't perform really. He shows flashes. I don't think we can go for the guy that shows flashes. We need the guy that is going to contribute to this team right now.
Yeah, I don't see Robert as a possibility at all.
No,
I think that's all media hype. Yeah, he's just. I don't see that happening. Some of the other names, Carlos Estevez has been pretty good, but it would be a tough sell to bring Carlos Estevez back and say, hey, we got our reliever. Didn't work last year, but this year it's going to work. Like, trust me. No one's going to buy that.
No,
Can't do that.
absolutely not doing that.
Rockies probably have a bunch of obsolete relievers. Mason Miller's not getting traded. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's probably one of the names you already mentioned at this point.
Yeah.
And, how you
All
feel
right,
about
so
it depends on how you kind of view those specific players.
yeah, so I guess we can move on from that. So no, me and Josh don't see a super flashy deadline. I don't think Stephen Kwan. I don't think Johan Duran. I don't think Luis Robert. I don't think any of those guys in the Philadelphia
Jaron
Phillies.
Duran, it's not happening.
No.
Yeah, just not happening.
And then a lot of these guys, they just really aren't a fit for the price because none of them, at the end of the day, guarantee that we're going to win a World Series. I kind of hate the mentality that everyone thinks we get one of these guys and like instantly like, oh, we're going to win the World Series. We're so much better. That's not guaranteed.
No, no, I don't have anything to add. Just you're correct in that statement.
So I guess that kind of just takes us to how you feel about the second half. Like, where are we at right now?
I don't know. Been conflicted for a while. I've been very conflicted with this team because
I don't think you're alone in that.
They keep doing the thing where they give you reasons for optimism and then they'll just give you reasons for pessimism and they just keep rotating and it's just the same things keep happening. You can't really bank on just many of these players to be any sort of consistent going down the stretch. I mean, we've gotten on here and we've raved about Jesus Luzardo, how this rotation is nails now. Ranger Suarez kind of looks like he's doing the thing where he runs out of gas a little bit. Luzardo, I don't even know what is going on with him. He's frustrating, to say the least. You still have some of these guys in this lineup who are super streaky. I know JT is coming around. Bryson Stott's been non-factor. Kepler's been non-factor. Bryce is here. Bryce is always going to get his number. Schwarber's obviously an anchor in this lineup, but I've seen them lose many different ways now, and I see how it goes wrong. I'm not saying it will, but it's too obvious to ignore how it can go wrong at this point.
Yeah, and then it's also really easy to see how the timing could just go, because we've seen how the Phillies could just go nuclear out of nowhere. I can also see the possibility. That's why I'm so confused about this, because I could see that possibility where like everything aligns at the right time this year, and they do go on like an absolute tear at the right time.
It would be a very Phillies thing for us all to finally kind of have that in the back of our minds going into the playoffs, and then them just put that aside and just go off completely unexpectedly. Yeah, that's the deal with this team. Very high upside, very low floor. Things can go good and bad. It depends a lot on how we're playing come September. Nola coming back is going to be a big jolt in the arm. I'm very curious as to how he's going to look. I would really, really prefer to see some more consistency out of Jesus Luzardo because that was kind of something that I was kind of banking on earlier in the season. I thought that he could be a staple come playoffs, but now, I mean, if he's the fifth starter, thinking about moving him to the bullpen, he doesn't pitch well out of the stretch. It's like this, it changes the whole dynamic of the pitching staff. So Nola's going to be very big to see how he looks. I know he's finally almost heading out on a rehab assignment if he hasn't started already. I'm really looking forward to the time when Painter actually pitches. We can probably start counting down the weeks. I think that it's going to be August. So that's going to be really big. That's going to give me some reason for excitement. And Justin Crawford, I think, is on the horizon.
I'm not sure what they're waiting for.
Yeah, I know. The whole idea with Kepler, and people don't really think about this, but the reason we signed him to a 1-year deal is because we think that we have an answer down the road, and that's Justin Crawford. He's been performing very well. He has an opportunity to provide some youthful energy to a lineup that sometimes lacks it. I think this is a veteran lineup that can get a little stagnant. And he's an electric, fast contact hitter who can bring another dynamic to the team. So I'm looking forward to that. I think Alvarado coming back in August is going to help. I know he's not going to be here in the playoffs, but use him up in August and September and hopefully save some bullets in the other guys because you're going to need everything you can get come October. And
yeah,
that's kind of what I'm thinking going forward. I know there's a lot more to it, but what about you? Would you like to hit on anything I just mentioned or anything additionally?
Yeah, I think you brought up definitely a couple. I think the rotation kind of hit on that. Nola is going to be a very interesting thing to see. I think, at least with me, I think he's built the trust where I think he can get back to being much more competitive than he was in the beginning of the season. I think something was wrong longer than he was talking about, and I think he's a better pitcher than that. And one thing is certain with Aaron Nola, at his best, he's an innings eater, and this rotation, specifically Luzardo, Ranger Suarez, these are guys we talked about at the beginning of the year. We're going to have to manage their workload because they have never proven to be able to throw 175 plus innings in a season. It's not who they are. I think one of those two guys ends up in the bullpen when Nola gets back. And then Painter, I don't know how it's going to play out. Not really impressed with what he's showing in AAA. And then I think we need to find that internal spark. And I think Justin Crawford is that answer like you were talking about. And I think it's probably time that we designate Max Kepler for assignment and roll with a left field, center field rotation of Marsh, Crawford, and Rojas. It's at the bare minimum, it'll give a spark because they're young, fast players who can, I don't know, they can change the game. Kepler right now doesn't do anything.
Yeah. Last offseason, there was a lot of talk about just shaking up this core and kind of changing stuff. And I think that, we kind of brought Kepler in as kind of a stopgap. I think this, the next 6 months of this Phillies team, there's going to be a lot of changes. I really do think that if this team doesn't get it done, I think this is offseason where we really start looking at the core. And I think that's why, we sign these 1-year deals with people. I think this is going to be kind of the deciding type of offseason. A lot of free agents. These guys should really be thinking this is the time where we got to do it. We got to prove it this year.
I think they all are too. I think the veterans
they need to know that because I think that the clock and the magnifying glasses are really on this core. I think the outfield is really, really, really overdue for a shakeup.
Yeah,
it's been a very
10 years, really.
Yeah, really unproductive unit. Just for the entire season, for the most part, it wasn't
decade.
Yeah, it wasn't the best unit coming into the season. I think that's going to be where it starts. But I do think that it's going to be very eye-opening to watch a lot of these players come these last 8 weeks of the season. Ranger Suarez, I mean, there's going to be a talk like, what is he really capable of doing, like full-time workload? Or do you really want to pay somebody $25 million a year who really falls off after 120 innings? JT Realmuto is obviously a 35-year-old catcher. How much money do you want to commit to a 35-year-old catcher? They don't age well. It doesn't matter who you are. Schwarber, DH, you want to lock up the DH spot for the next 4 years. You want to give a DH only $100 million. Casty, I mean, are we willing to trade him now with a 1-year deal? Is somebody going to take him on? Just big ideas like this. It's time to start asking the tough questions. And I think that we're going to be a little underwhelmed with this trade deadline because big picture, we wanted to win this year, but we also still want to do that thing where we want to build something going forward. And these guys in the farm system, these top 4 names, putting a lot of stock into them now because the core is getting very old and it's just going to be very interesting. That was kind of my.
No, I think that's really, really well said. I think you're absolutely right. I think the front office is thinking that way too. I don't think they're thinking like, you know what, I'll push all those prospect chips in right now. Like, we're going to give these guys the extra boost. I think they're thinking they're going to make marginal changes. And then the offseason is the time where, like we've been talking about, we just have a poorly constructed roster that gets hot sometimes and is capable of winning a World Series and playoff series. But they're not built to sustain it. And I think this offseason is finally the chance to address that. And I think the 2026 roster will look quite a bit different than this roster.
I think it might look different anyway. I think it might look different if we if we win the World Series too, because there's just there's a lot of turnover that needs to happen to make this sustainable.
I actually think winning a World Series will make it easier to let guys go.
Yeah, because that'll feel like
they did it.
You did something. You don't need to keep holding on to this this 2022 core that almost got it done for sentimental reasons. I get it. It's tough. These guys have been around for a while at this point. I'm very fond of a lot of them, and I'm not very fond of some of them. It's gonna be very interesting to watch as a Phillies fan, and I'm kind of looking forward to it. But yeah, I think you also highlighted that I don't think the front office has seen enough with this core to say, let's throw in all of our chips and let's go get the best player on the market. Also, we didn't even talk about Eugenio Suarez.
Yeah.
A lot of talk about that. You don't see it?
I just think I think people are not highlighting how bad of an idea it is to put Schwarber or Harper into the outfield.
I don't even understand. What is the plan? So he'll play third.
Bohm would play first.
Harper to right.
Either Schwarber to left or Harper to the outfield. Which, I mean, I know people were laughing about that Schwarber play where he fell. I didn't think that was funny.
No, that was not good.
That is our most valuable player almost hurting himself, doing something he shouldn't be doing, playing left field. He's the best DH in the league after Ohtani, I guess. But do not put that guy in left field. Harper had wrist numbness. Don't put him in the outfield to throw the ball. That's dumb.
I think the D-backs also want like 2 top 5 prospects or something insane. It was just ridiculous. It's very much a seller's market still, which stinks. It feels like it's always a seller's market. But yeah, I don't see that happening either. That's a steep price.
Yeah, and the only scenario where I think it makes sense is if Bohm is returned in the deal, but I just don't see the Phillies doing that.
Is Gurriel having a good season?
No, I looked into it.
All right, yeah, because he's always been a good fit.
Yeah, he's a good fit. And we actually he is one of those guys that tends to have like a better second half, and he's kind of a clutch bat type of guy and does always hit lefties better. But right now, it's not looking good for him. I don't think he's over 10 home runs.
All right. Yeah, I'm running out of names here. Soler, I don't think he's available. I don't want him anyway. I don't know. I guess we'll have an answer in 24 hours.
Yeah, I think we soon will.
All right. Well, you got anything else? I forgot trivia time today. I owe you
okay.
I owe you 2 trivia times for next episode.
It makes me really sad, but okay.
All right, I'll make up for it next time. Got anything else before we get out of here?
No, man. I'm praying something good happens tomorrow or the next 2 days, whenever this comes out. But I don't know. We'll see what happens, and go Phils as always.
Yes, well said. As always, thank you guys for listening, and we will be back. Might be back to talk about some big moves if something crazy happens, but if not, we'll just be back to talk to you soon. As always, take care and go Phils.